Welcome back to the Atari ST Nostalgia GFA BASIC tour. In the previous video we had a look at some graphics, drawing some graphics on screen and use some random numbers as input for those commands. In this video we will take a look at using the standard fill patterns provided by the ST computer and how we can use them to fill the screen or to fill objects. So let's go into our editor, and again I started it in direct mode. The screen is clear. And for instance, if I draw a box, let's draw a box, say from 100 to 500, 300. This is a nice big box, but the box is empty. And suppose I wanted to actually put a fill in this box and maybe also fill the background screen with something. Now, the Atari actually has some standard fill patterns, and everybody who ever used some paint graphics program, they probably know, because those programs had a paint function and you could choose a different fill pattern. There's actually quite a lot, and you can actually set the fill pattern. You can use them also in GFA BASIC. You use the def fill command, and the def fill command, the first one I think is the color. So basically you always set it to 1 because I'm in monochrome mode. And you have a group of patterns, which is 1, 2, 3, or 4. Let's just say, yeah, in group 1 I think is always a solid color, but group 2 actually has some patterns to it, and then you choose the pattern within that group. I will choose pattern 5, and after I do this I can actually set it to OK fill, put a fill somewhere, and it will start filling the screen with this this defined pattern, and it will actually respect the borders of this box. So the box is 100, 100, 500, 300, which means if I do 200, 200, it will actually put the fill inside the box, and as you can see, the pattern, it will not leave the box. So I can do another def fill. Now, unfortunately my text is over the graphics, but let's say 141, which I know is a bunch of Atari logos, which is also the only fill in group 4. And I fill the screen again, but this time I start the fill command somewhere outside of the box. Let's say at coordinates 50, 50. And as you can see, it's filling the background of the screen. Of course the text is now not readable. So this is a very nice function if you have some. And I think games like King's Quest or games from the Sierra AGI engine, what they actually do is they draw vectors on the screen and then use fill patterns to fill them. That's also why it takes a while for the screen to actually open. And they seem to use the standard fill patterns. Now, of course, to be able to use the fill patterns, you would want to know what they are. So I actually prepared some code that will let us cycle through the fill patterns. And I will not use the fill command because actually that's quite slow, but I will use a different command which I didn't show you yet. I will do that first. So I will clear the screen, because instead of drawing a box and then starting the fill routine from within that box, I can actually use the pbox command. And pbox command is basically exactly the same as the box command, except it will fill the box with the fill pattern that's defined at that time. So in this case, it will fill a box with Atari logos, and you can see this is way faster than the standard fill command. That's just wanted to show you. That's what I do. In this case, I will only use the pattern groups 2 and 3 because pattern group 1 is just a solid color, so it will just draw something black. What I will do, I will make a finite loop using a for next statement. And in group 2 there's 24 different patterns, so I will define the fill 1, 2, and then the number of I, clear the screen. I will actually print the fill style 2 in pattern, and then the pattern number, so I can see which one it is, so which numbers I should use if I want to define that fill. I will draw a box that is almost filling the screen except for 100 pixels on each side, and I wait for user input so I can look at the patterns, read the number, and take a note down which one I want to use. After this loop I will do a second one, but I will use group 3, which has 12 different patterns in it, and I will basically do exactly the same routine, wait for a key press, And when that loop is finished, I will define the fill as the Atari logos, clear the screen, and then start filling the screen from the middle, and then also wait for a key press, and then the program is finished. So we can sort of cycle through the different fill patterns that are available in GFA BASIC. Now this is pattern 1, and any of you who saw my King's Quest 2 video will recognize this pattern as the one that they actually use for the sand on the beach and also for King Graham's face. Now you can see there's just different patterns with dense, like black dots that become denser to simulate a darker scale of gray, or some, like this is with crosses, I think. And you can see there are quite some patterns to use that can simulate grayscale. This one is black, but also they have patterns like this. These are just like bricks. So if you're drawing a house, you can use this for the walls. And you can use this for the bricks that are, if you want to simulate some 3D environment. And of course, there's many different patterns to choose from. Like this looks a bit like metal. This is, I don't know what, some nice dots and shapes. And some balls, actually some roof tiles to use for drawing stuff. Checkered flags. So this is number 23, 24. And then style 3 is mainly based on different lines, so cursive or crossing lines, vertical, horizontal. And there's only 12 of them. I find this one less useful than the other one actually. And of course these are just the standard fill patterns, and now it fills the screen with Atari logos, which means after I press the key the program will be finished. Now the interesting thing is you can actually also define your own patterns. I think it should be 16 by 16 pixels. And then you can just fill an area, and it looks like it looks like something you drew, but it's actually just a fill. I think they used that one in the match point tennis game I reviewed earlier. You can see the pattern of the audience sitting next to the screen. I think they used a fill pattern like this for it. I'm not going to define patterns, but I will use this knowledge later to program something. So yeah, let's just cycle through them quickly again. And you can choose your favorite that you can choose in your program if you want to put something on screen, or just have, of course, use the random function to pick one of these 24 patterns and use use it to fill the screen, or use a filled shape, which is something we will do in the next video. Actually, I will explore using random numbers to define a certain fill and then automatically draw random objects using that fill. For now, this is all I have to show about the different fill patterns that are available in GFA BASIC. I hope to see you next time.